So I'm sure everyone is tired of hearing the word pandemic, am I right? And we all know the impact that it has brought to our community with rising employment rates. The competition just gets harder, and this large sea of graduates trying to find their dream job. So today, we are honored to have Ishak Karim here to discover the methodology and tools to communicate your capabilities and value you can bring to an organization. So today, Ishak will cover three key topics in today's 3-hour session: resume and cover letter, personal branding, job interview, and job market challenges. So just a few house rules beforehand. During the session, we kindly request our audience to switch off their mic and video to minimize interruption. If you have any questions at any time, feel free to communicate using the chat box or muting your mic to ask your questions. So before we start, allow me to recognize Isha as our speaker today. Ishak Karim is an international semiconductors professional by day and social entrepreneur by night. He started from a humble beginning in Felda, graduated with a Bachelor of Science in Electrical Engineering and Masters of Science in Operations Research from the George Washington University in the USA. So he was also appointed as Board of Studies and Industrial Advisors for IIUM since 2007. Isha is also a career coach with the mission to help students, fresh graduates, and young professionals to unleash their full potential in reaching their career goals via resume reviews, interview preparation, coaching, and group career advice and motivational talks. So I'm sure with that profile, everyone is looking forward to this jam-packed session. So I will hand the floor right over to you, Isha.
Thank you, Sandra. Welcome everyone to the session. Let me share my screen. I hope everyone see my screen. Okay, so today I just use a PowerPoints as a guidance. I'm not really referring to it so much, and I hope you also do not pay too much attention to the slides, but rather I want to have an unofficial or a casual sessions that we can interact either through chat or through voice. I encourage you to turn on your camera, turn on your mic. If you want to ask a question, else you can write in the chat box. The presentation is going to be in English, which is the language that I'm comfortable with. The interactions can be also in Malay. I'm okay with either way, but I'm going to continue with English when answering your question, even though you're going to ask a question in Malay. That's how I'm going to do it. It's going to be very casual. It doesn't have to be formal. You can ask as many questions as you like. You can interrupt me somewhere in the middle during the presentation, or you can also wait towards the end of the presentation. Either way is fine with me. So just a little bit of introductions. As Sandra was introduced me a bit, I'm going to go a little bit deeper on this so that you get to know me better. Education-wise, I pretty much started back in with SRP in the Sekolah Menengah Kebangsaan Jing ke-6, which is the Felda area. And then I continue with my SPM Science in 1986 and Sekolah Menengah Kebangsaan Jing ke-2. And then I was offered a full scholarships to continue my studies in the US. But at that time, we have a 2+2 program, which is twinning program with between UITM and the State University of New York. My campus was in SS15, Subang Jaya. I graduated in 1989, which is a second year actually, but in US, they give this called the American Associate Degree in Applied Science. Then continue on, went to US in winter 89, which is right after Christmas. And then start January in 1990, Bachelor of Electrical Engineering, graduated in 1993. And then because I like staying in the US, I find a reason how can I stay a little bit longer than 3-4 years. And yeah, then I decided to continue my master's just to stay in US, not to get a master's degree anyway. But I managed to get a master's degree, and I don't want to come back, but yeah, my sponsors say I have to come back, then I did. Then I start my career in Siemens, back then in Malacca, now it's Infineon Technologies, in 1996. I did not like it. I liked the job, but I did not like the environment. And then I decided to go back to US, and I joined Kumonda. Kumonda was also actually in Infineon, a spin-off from Infineon, but the company closed down. Then in 2005, I returned to Malaysia, joined Infineon Kulim as a staff engineer. Then at that time, I was seconded to Villach, Austria, and then also seconded to Germany, Dresden, to do a technology transfer. Spent until 2011 there, and then I came back because my dad got very sick. I like working in Infineon, and then my dad got very sick. I have to visit him almost every weekend. Then it's very tiring traveling from Kulim. Then I decided to find a closer job, and then I managed to get a job in Freescale. It was Motorola back then, and then Freescale, and then now of course NXP. Then after that, the division that I'm in, they closed it down, and then my boss asked me to find another job, and then I did, and then I got a job in back in Infineon where I started, and then before I leave Infineon in last December 2020, I was an automation project manager that's doing the biggest automation project in Asia before I quit. So all the while, I've been in semiconductor industry for 25 years altogether, but I think 25 years is enough. But who knows? And then I may come back into the working scene. Let's see how it turned out. And these are my family: is my daughter, my wife, my son, and so my younger son. Okay. Okay, so just a little bit more introduction of myself, and I'm very active in LinkedIn. For those in LinkedIn, they know I'm very active nowadays because I have nothing else to do anyway. Just chatting with everybody in LinkedIn, and then talk to so many people virtually or over the phone. Right now, of course, we cannot meet face to face, but we have to do it this way. I'm a career coach. So far, I have about 25.9K followers, and then 23 connections. If you wonder where is this 2,000 people, the rest of them, I don't know, because they're following me, but they don't want to connect with me for whatever reason, I don't know. What I do is answering questions, a lot of questions coming in. I try to answer as much as I could. Comments, and then write a quality content as well. And then I also offer a service, resume review, mock interview, or interview preparations, and also career coaching as we go along. Yeah. Okay, so this is what's going to happen today. I don't really want to follow the street rules or anything like that. I just want to cover as much as I can. Then we do question and answers. And then hopefully by 4:30, we cover everything, or 5 o'clock the latest. Of course, I can stay beyond that if you want me to. I have no problem. We cover the resume and the cover letter, and then we take a 5-minute breaks, and then continue with the personal branding, and then take another break, and then come back, and then I'll talk about a little bit more on the job interviews, and then the market challenges that you have, job market challenges there is. And then we follow up with the question and answers if there's further questions along the way. Yeah. Okay, so let's start with the resume. Everybody knows resume is very important. Resume is a ticket for you to get called for interview. Resume also serves as a brochure of yourself, if you will. If you are a product, then your resume is your brochure that describes all the good features that you have in in you, so that the hiring manager or HR who reads your resume got very attracted to you, and then what invited you to go for interview. There's still many people don't really quite get their resume right, as far as I'm concerned, to get to be called for interview. So this is where I'm coming in and then do these kind of programs to make sure that you have a good resume, so that you will improve your probability you will get called for interview. So this is what I'm trying to do, either on one-to-one sessions or the one-to-many right now. But of course, for one-to-many, it's very difficult to cover fully details, because resume is individually represent you. Therefore, it cannot be copied and cannot be you know, replaced with some other more powerful resume. Let's say, for example, you find somebody that posts in LinkedIn that I use this resume and then I've got so many calls for interview. But the contents of the resume is that particular person, it's not you. Therefore, you cannot copy everything that what he or she has, so that you can improve your likelihood to get for interview. The problem later on during the interview, then if you cannot explain your resume well, then it's going to be a big problem. Yeah. So the first thing first is the first impression counts, because before your hiring manager get a chance to see you, or HR got a chance to meet you, to see you, to really quote unquote grill you in person, the only document that represents you is your resume and your cover letter. Therefore, you have to make a very good impression, with make sure that your resume stand out from anybody else, any of the candidates, especially fresh graduates, because if what I see is, let's say from UNITA, and then one of the degree is 20 of them or 50 of them having similar resume, similar content, similar work sometimes. So this is how you're going to stand out if you look like the rest of any other candidates. Therefore, you have to be different. You have to be different in a positive way, so that you can stand out of the crowd. The employer can make the quick decisions just by reading your resume. May not read the whole thing, but your summary, or the summary is the one that I'm stressing, because that is the first sections that people see. Then that is the one that really hook and then represent you, that the reader, or in this case hiring manager, can make decision very quickly whether to keep your resume on accepted pile or to reject your resume. From the appearance of your pictures, the appearance of your layout of your resume, how neat and how messy your resume is, that gives an assumption already right away, and what kind of person are you. It's not just the contents, but how you represent your contents, and then how you display it makes it different. If you have a gap, of course, for most of you are very young, and then you may not have a gap, but if you have a gap, then you have to also explain why you have a gap, to make it very clear, because if you do have a gap, then it poses the risks of, if something happens to you or something happens to your family, then you're gonna quit the job. So that's why gap is very important. And then everything else in the content of your resume has to be job related. Yeah, not talking about you're not talking about hobbies. You're not talking about family. So everything is just job related, job experience. For those fresh graduates, you may not have the experience in your field, but you may have experience doing your part-time job somewhere. Please include them and then treat them as a regular job that you have until you really get a job. Yeah, and then you have to get your basic right. So that means one thing that I noticed that from UITM especially, they are stresses too much on sports involvement. I don't view sport as an added feature. unlike in the old days, during my time, I remember banks like to have people with sport because they do have sport team, they do have soccer team, they have full-fledged sport team because they have a sport event between among the banks, for example. But nowadays, sport is not that really important. I've seen the one resume that has a one page dedicated to these runs that they participated, like night runs or this they have this marathon event or whatever. Then the whole page. That one is not necessary. Yeah. Get the basic right. It means don't make a basic mistake. Yeah, spelling check, the grammar. That is to say, maybe you can say, yeah, just missing one letter. You know, how bad can it be? Yes, that because um, based on the sample that we've seen, which is sample is 2 pages that you have. And then if you already make a mistake there, you can imagine if you were to write a lengthy documents, then you're prone to make a mistake as well. So don't rely on spell check. Don't rely on just the embedded grammar check if you're using words. You really have to check, and then you have to make sure that there's no error. If you need to hire somebody to get somebody else to proofread your resume, be it, yeah. So get your everything else, check the spelling, check the grammar, and there's no error, and then get the the general structure right. Yeah, as skills, your employment, your education. There was a question recently. There's so many questions coming up recently of saying that, hey, I do have a PhD and then I do have a master's. Can I not to rate that qualifications? I just use my bachelor degree to apply for that job. If you ask me, my answer is no, because if they find out that you do, because nowadays it's very easy to find out because you post, you celebrate your success in social media very often, and then maybe you post somewhere in social media and saying you graduated, you got your master's, you got your PhD, and then when they come to know that you do have this, and then they can charge you for lying in applying for the position. So it's not good to lie when to apply for the position, not just for your education, but also your experience, your skills, and everything else. Lying is a big offense. It's a big no-no. Nobody likes liars anyway. Okay, and then sell yourself. Yeah, sell yourself. Don't be afraid in this context, because normally, among the Malays, among the Malaysians, we don't like to boast. We just stay humble and then stay low, so that we feel humble, not so arrogant. But in this case, you have to boast. You have to really to sell your achievements. I'm not saying that you make a mountain out of hill, but you're really serious. It's really whatever you have that you think is sellable. In this case, then you have to mention it. This is your one chance to impress. It may be for you, you think it's small thing, you don't need to share, but for the hiring manager, that could make a big difference. Yeah, and then use the good language, persuasive language to show what you have that you have learned and you have achieved, and then give an example whenever possible that you say you achieve something, you have some achievements, big achievements, and give or you show your character, your good character, and then give the evidence, not just mention it, and give your evidence that where you say you are. You say, for example, you are a good leader. Where is this in a good leader? And then you say you are a team player. Where is it in your resume to show the proof that you are a team player? Okay. And then for those who have experience, or for those who are generalists, maybe you can tailor your resume. When I say tailor your resume, it's not tailor your resume to the specific job that you're applying for. That is the role of the cover letter that focuses on the job that you're applying for. But here, if you're a generalist, for example, then you want work. You can work in different industries. Therefore, you may want to tailor your resume, like you have a 2 or 3 different versions that's specifically focusing on that particular industry. Or you can go by functions. If you're capable of running multiple functions, then you can do your resume based on functions, and in 2 or 3 versions based on functions. That is tailor. You don't tailor your resume to the specific job that you're applying for. Okay, so there's so many templates out there. I can see that some of the coaches out there that having a similar program that offer free templates. To be honest, I'm not a big fan of templates. And for those who come to my resume review, I don't comment so much on the templates unless your template is very messy. I don't really pay that much attention to templates because to me, templates will limit what you have to offer. Because if you follow the templates that you're filling out the form, and then these are the only thing that goes into your resume, you may have something else that you may forget, or you may not consider it at all because your template says you should have this and that. So I would rather let it free if anything that you think is sellable, and then you can include it into your resume. It doesn't have to follow the specific templates, but template is good for those who have no idea what to write and how to write. Therefore, it goes into that, but it should not be a strict rules. It's just more like a guidance. It shouldn't be a strict rules how to do that. Okay, so this is the one of the templates that I captured, and many youngsters like to use these templates. I think it's okay. It's quite harmless to follow, and then it makes your resume looks more modern. So this is how you can do it. You write a full name and then have a photo of you. Make sure that your photo is really sharp. It really represent you. It's not like a selfie that it's a professional photo. Yeah, how do you define professional? It's up to you. But at this time, if you are ready to go to work, and then you should know what how the professional should look like. Yeah, so take a photo, frontal photo, a portrait photo without any background. If you like the photo that you take with a background, you can always remove the background, just focus on your face. And the group photo is pretty much the size of what you see in my you see on my video now. It is your head and then up to the slightly lower than what you see now, probably up to your chest. That is the front shot. That is a good front shot. It's considered a good front shot. Okay, if you look at this, the personal information is enough if you just write phone number, email, and locations. If you want to put the LinkedIn profile, that's also fine. Don't go more than that. Yeah, no direct address, no full address, and then hopefully you don't have enemy. If you put a full address, you don't know where your resume goes, and if somebody was looking for you, and then they know where you live, it's quite dangerous. Then the phone number, you have phone number there, but if you put in the public, if you display in the public, like if you post your resume in LinkedIn, for example, which is I don't encourage because that doesn't help you, please remove all the phone numbers, including the phone number of your referees. If you send directly to the hiring manager, or you send directly on to that application online, then you have to leave your phone number, else how do they gonna contact you? No IC number, which is just very dangerous as well. So please limit your personal information up to this level. Nobody cares how old you are, your birth date, and then whether you're married or single. That doesn't go into resume. And then you write your summary. Your summary is the pretty much the pitching that I was talking about. And then if you had 10 seconds or if you had a chance, 10 seconds to talk to the hiring manager, what would it be? So that the contents of that 10-second pitch goes into this summary part. This is why when people scan your resume in 10 seconds, 10, 20 seconds, it's basically they're focusing in your summary. If your summary is not interesting, then most likely then your resume may not be that interesting anyway. Then you can write your skills, can be software, can be then language skill. I'm not a big fan of language skill if you only have Malay and English, but if you have a specific foreign language that is required by the job that you're applying for, maybe Japanese or Korean or German, if you are not native, then that one goes in there. If it's just English and Bahasa Malaysia, it may not help you so much. Then you start with education for those who are fresh, for those who have experience, and work experience come first. Your education come last, and then for a fresh graduate, and you put your education, your degree, university, and then graduation date. That should be more than enough, nothing more than that. And then you start when you talk about your working position, company durations, and then duration from which month, which year to which month to which year. Then start talking about your roles and responsibilities. You don't have to write the header roles and responsibility. You can go straight and then also focus also on your achievement and contributions. More often than not, the resume that I receive, many of them have only roles and responsibility. So the way we read your resume, if you have such a resume, then we can say, yes, you are busy, but you have nothing come up. You work very hard, but there's no achievement, no contribution whatsoever. So it's very important to put your achievement and contribution, because when hiring manager sees that you have contributed so much and then you have achieved so much in your previous work, then you are very likely that the hiring manager like to talk to you, because he or she will expect you to continue contributing the same way in the new company. Yeah, so yeah, if you are using academic project, of course, this one is for fresh graduate. You can write your academic projects. It's focusing on final year projects and also a design project. This one you can write your motivation, the title, motivation, technology, methodology, approach. The same goes with the design project in the team, but the difference is what is your specific roles in the team. And then referees, yeah, you need to have at least 2 referees. It doesn't have to be, but if you want to write your referees, you put it 2 of them. Else you can opt not to. If they request, then you can provide to them. Then you have extracurricular activities, and then there's your clubs, your associations. Provide the introductions of your club and associations or activities that you involve briefly, and then your roles and responsibilities, and also your achievement and contribution during the club. The same goes with your volunteering experience if you have. So this is the templates of the fresh graduates. But if for the experienced one, it's similar, but your experience should come first. You give emphasis to your experience, and then you may not need to go back if you have worked for more than 5 years, for example. Then you don't have to go back to polish and talk about your extracurricular activities anymore. Just enough to focus on your day job. Okay, so you can also, yes.
There is a few clarifications requested from the audience, if that's okay.
Sure.
So first one is perhaps you could clarify what is the difference between a CV and a resume?
Okay. Okay. What is the difference between CV and a resume? By definition, resume is a summary. Yes, summary of you, or summary of your work experience in this case. So that is 2 pages maximum. Some companies in US they request for 1 page, but in Malaysia it's okay to have 2 pages in your resume. Yeah, resume is a summary in French, and then CV is normally is a curriculum vitae, normally used by those who are in education, those who are in research, where they focus on their research activities and focus on their publications, focus on their IPs, and then they have a lot more details on the activities that they do. So this is not limited to any number of pages. I've seen, I received a CV from one of the lecturers that has 44 pages on it, but I say, I'm sorry, I don't have time to read 44 pages. I cannot review your CV. Then you can write whatever inside your personal detail as much as you write, as much as you like, your age, your gender, your married, your whatever else. Then what goes into your CV. And in Malaysia, they're so unfortunate that some even HR use this term interchangeably. And when they say CV, they means resume. When they say resume, they mean CV, but it's referring to resume. So if you're applying for a job, it's good enough just to say to send your resume. But if for whatever reason the HR requests specifically you to send a CV right after you submit your resume, then be it. Yeah. You can also send your CV. But for fresh graduate, I do not see any difference between the two, because you don't have much to write in your CV or resume anyway, and resume should be sufficient. Any
Okay.
more question?
Yes. One more. Thank you for that. There's one more. So in a lot of the resumes, as you've mentioned, in I think perhaps in the software skills part, there are a lot of people who include icons or logos. Like, for example, if they are competent in Microsoft Excel, they will put an Excel logo. Is it good? Is it better to use the icons, or is it not?
For me, I'm not a big fan of icon. I'm not a big fan of graphics. That is based on the principle of ATS. Yeah. So if you apply online, any application for the, let's say for the big companies, MNCs, they have the ATS embedded into the application. Then if you have logos, you have pictures, except a picture of yourself in Malaysia is acceptable, but in some other part of the world, even your picture of yourself is also not acceptable to be in the resume. But in Malaysia, it's encouraged to have. But if you think that your photo will disturb you for whatever reason, I don't know, and then you don't have to put your photo in your resume. Logos, graph, charts. It's better not to have any logos. I mean, the ATS is tax based, yeah. Unless you hand deliver, even so, you hand deliver, it does not make any difference. Even you say, yes, I am proficient in Excel, or you just put the logo Excel there, it doesn't make any difference, because we are communicating with the hiring manager, not like using emojis, yeah. We are still in the text-based communications, not going back to ancient Egyptians using emoji. No, we're not doing that. Therefore, no logos, no even on your personal details, even locations, email, phone number, no icon there either. People know by looking, even if you don't have this is a phone number dot phone number, and then by looking at that number, I think the hiring manager is smart enough to say to know that is your phone number. And then they're smart enough to know without even the logo, and then they know that is your email. And then without using the Google mark locations, and then they know that's location. Therefore, logo is not necessary anywhere in your resume. One thing. The second thing is some people like to use the logo of the company because they want to make it stand out. Say, for example, the intern in Petronas and take the logo of Petronas. I'm not a big fan of that either, based on the principle that those logo are copyrighted. Those logo are the trademark of that company. Only that company can use that logo, not you. So stick to the plain text. That is better. No bar charts, no charts. Even if you write this software proficiency, many of you like to use stars or dots or charts. How do you come to 80%, for example? Which test that you take? Which standard of 80%? Your 80% may be 50% for me. So it doesn't really help you. It hurts you in most cases. I would rather not put this logo. It looks nice. It looks smart, but uh, I would rather not to have.
Okay, thank you. I think that is all for now. You may continue.
Okay, so we continue on. If you want to see how my resume looks like, this is how it looks like. I block out everything because I don't want people to copy it. Because one thing, I don't share the template of the resume, and then second thing is the resume that I received, they are confidential as far as I'm concerned. I don't give this resume out unless I get permission from the owner of the resume. Therefore, if you see something that is really good, should be in there. It is few cases that happens to me as well, that when I copy or crop the picture snapshot of my summary, I give it to them, and then the next day I receive the updated resume, and they're exactly copying from what I have in my resume, which is it's not a good thing. Yeah, it's really a no. That's why in any other presentation, I tend to block all of these, but just to show you the format, how it goes, and then what I write. So as you can see, this is what I've been doing for the past 25 years. It's take everything into 2 pages. And then many fresh graduates are complaining to me, sir, I cannot fit anything that I do in 25 pages, in 2 pages. And I say, what have you done? I mean, you have not worked yet. You've been in college for 4 years. I've been in industry for 25 years. I still can fit in everything in 2 pages, then my resume works. So there shouldn't be any reason why you cannot fit into 2 pages. Yeah. So this is how I do it. The flow, a professional experience. The latest one come kind of top. Then it follows my education. It's towards the end, because education, it doesn't matter anymore. It matters to show that I do have that education. That was it. It's nothing really to be proud of. It doesn't help you to get a job just to say I do have. Therefore, I give a very small area for that, so that it won't take so much of the space. And then the rest is some other skills, as I put it down there. Okay. Okay. So I just want to show you the example of the resume, because many people ask me every time I receive the resume, then I say, well, the resume that you sent to me is empty. And then they say, what do you mean empty? There's a tons of stuff I write in there. Then I say it's empty because I don't see what I'm looking for. That's why I say it empty. So this is one of the example of the resume that I received recently. Then to me is empty, because the picture is quite big. Yeah, you almost use a 3/4 or 1/6 of the page that limited you to write anything. Because I can understand from this, whoever writes this resume, from his or her point of view, there's nothing else to write. Therefore, you make the design in such a way that it looks full, but it's actually empty. It's not really. And if you look at personal information, you have this. You don't need to say this is my name. You already have name here. And then phone number, you don't have to mention email address, like age. You don't have to mention all of these. You just write, because space is precious. In the resume, space is precious. You have to use the space smartly, efficiently. And then language, I say, if you have Malay and English, don't bother. If you have something else, you will include in there. And then this is not your professional skills. Yeah, this is not your professional skill. This is your software skill. You don't even have to. If you want to put your rating, you can put your rating like this: basic, moderated, or advanced. Else, you don't even have to mention your skill. And then personal skills. This also is not a personal skill. Yeah. And then when talk about work experience, you look at the way he writes or she writes this and say perform market surveillance. That's it. To me, this is a very, how should I say, it's very stingy in words. You could have used a lot more. You could have written a lot better. That not only it shows that you cannot write very well, and then it's very limited information. What can I extract as a hiring manager? What can I extract from perform market surveillance? There's nothing there for me to extract, nothing there for me to learn, nothing there for me to consider what exactly you're doing, and then how does this activity that you do helps CRM in this case. Yeah. So then educations, you write your education is okay, but it's don't need to elaborate a little bit more. But I would rather focus on your projects, and then the project I just mentioned, the other sample, where you have a final year project and also a group project, or if there's any other project that you think is significant, also can go in there. Why is a project so important? Why a project is so significant? To me, a project is the closest activity that you have to the real world, to the job or working world. And then let's say you've done your IDP for 1 year, then you do your FYP for 2 years, for another year. Then it looks like you have, and then you have an internship. Then who says fresh graduate do not have experience? Then in that sense, by definition, you have at least 2 years of experience. Yeah, you have experience working on your project, and then you have some experience working on your internship. So that's why this project is very important rather than anything else that you put it in there. And then when you put the when you include your involvement or co-curriculum activities, as I mentioned earlier, don't just list, because by listing it, we don't know what it is. And then you would like to explain a bit what it is and then how significant is that event if you participate in that event. And then what is your roles and responsibility in that event, and what is your achievement or contribution to the organization or to the universities. Yeah, reference, if you want to put reference, put 2. If you don't want to put it in there because you need a space for whatever reason, then it's also fine. But if they ask you, then you can go and provide the information.
Sorry, Isha, one question
Yes.
here. Is it advisable to include a career objective in the resume or CV?
There's a two thing. Yeah. The objective, which is a summary. For me, I prefer summary, because if you write a career objective, yeah, that means many people like write the career objective there. I'm looking for a process engineering job in semiconductor industry. That doesn't help. That statement should go into your cover letter. But if you really want to get your career objective, if you want to write as an objective, is you can write what is your career goal. Career meaning long term. What is your near term, your medium term, and then your long term goal in that? Then it's okay. That's why I would prefer to write a summary. That means a summary of you. You can include your career goal as well. Towards the end of the sentence, you can say, if you're hired, this is what you plan to do in your career. That is also good. Yeah, but if your objective is looking for the entry level position for that industry, then it doesn't help. So that's why I prefer to have summary, where to sell yourself upfront in the summary as your pitch, including your career goal. If you have, then you put it in there. So it's hopefully that answered that question.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, so any more questions before I go to the cover letter? No. So cover letter. Yeah. Of course, this is the some basic. Yeah. I said cover letter is a guideline. It's not something that you have to follow strictly. But in Malaysia, the cover letter is a cover letter, a formal letter. Yeah. It's not a memo. Many of you write like a memo. It's not a memo. It's a letter. It has to be a cover letter, a formal, the way we write it when you learn during the high school. Yeah, you start with your address, and then your date, and then to whom you're writing to, and then you have a subjects, and then application for whatever position that you know. Or then you write your opening paragraph, stating it's normally introducing yourself, and then where you can you get to know the opening position. And then the body of the letters, normally you can divide it into 2 sections. One is you talk about why you fit for the job from technical point of view, and then the second paragraph, it talks about from soft skill or from personality point of view, and then why you think you fit for that job, and then you do the closing. Yeah, that's as simple as that. but cover letter is very powerful. Um, the question is, do they read the cover letter? That is not for you to answer. Yeah, you always have to assume that they will read your cover letter. Therefore, you spend the time to write the cover letter as if you are speaking to the person, not cut and paste or copy from somewhere else. It should come from you, and then the language should come from you. Yeah, when we read the cover letter, we feel like, yeah, you are talking to me. It's not like you copy from somewhere else. It sounds very dry, then it's not effective. So the way you write a cover letter, you really have to say, when you have a chance to talk to this guy, because this is the only chance for you to talk to the hiring manager. Yeah, to write in writing form, which is through a cover letter. That is pretty much I want to cover about cover letter. It's not there's not much of the information to share, but that's pretty much it. Any question? Else I move to branding, or we take a break, 5 minutes. Let's go for a break.
All right. Thank you, Isha. I think everyone is so far so good. It's all clear for now. So let's take a 5 minute break, I assume. Isha, 5 minutes,
Yeah.
yes? Ah,
Yes.
okay. So everyone can just take a short break, a toilet break, look out, rest your eyes, and be back in 5 minutes. Thank you very much. Isha, we are going to share a screen to play our video if that's okay with you.
Yes. Do you still see my screen?
Oh,
Somehow
yes,
I
yes. We still see you. You still sharing your screen.
okay. Somehow I lost the video thing. Oh, okay. Okay.
Hi everyone. Before we get back into the session, we have deployed a poll, a short poll for everyone to answer. So it's a very simple question. We appreciate if we could get your input on this. So thank you very much.
I don't fit into the choice, unfortunately.
Oops.
Cannot select.
Once you're ready, Isha, you can proceed lah.
Is it up already? You can go ahead. Continue. Okay.
So if everyone is ready, back and ready to go, appreciate if you could post that you're back in the chat. Yes, keep the energy going.
Okay, so let's continue with the next sections, which is personal branding. Why is it so important? People are talking about personal branding. For me, personal branding is not just your appearing on the social media. Yeah, this is not what I want to focus today, even though it's quite important as well. But today, I just want to focus on the personal branding at work. Yeah, when you are doing, when you're staying at work, and then how can you change your employee, be a employee, just an employee mindset, and then a personal branding mindset. So this is going to be, hopefully is not too long of the discussion or not too long of the elaboration. Then just to give some flavors, give some idea, uh, what is the situation as far as branding if you're working in the big companies, especially MNC, if you're working like across the globe. Yeah. Um,
Sorry, Isha, just checking if you have slides for this.
okay, I do. Did I not share? Maybe because yeah,
I
it
think not
was it
shared
was
yet.
kicked out earlier, right? So hold on. Where's sharing screen? Okay, better now?
Okay, we see it now. All right.
Okay. All right. So we're talking about how do you do your branding at work, starting from the beginning, because at the very first few days, especially when you do a newcomers, and then people playing the guessing game. Yeah, who are you? What kind of person are you? Then you want to really make a brand. Yeah. Because when I first started working 25 years ago, and then somebody looked at me and saying that, yeah, do you know this new guy? And then this new guy is out and say, yes, I know. Yeah, the guy who speaks very strange American accent, and then he looks like Malay, but I'm not sure whether he's really Malay. So that was my brand, and then my brand to the people on Germany. They're saying that yes, this guy can do all the technical job, and then you give it to him, he can do it. So that's my brand to the European side. Therefore, your brand is what is your brand that you want to be known as, and you want to be known at with your personality, with your skills, and then also with your appearance. Yeah. The side by side comparison, if you're the employee mindset, you want to blend in, because the very first time you come to work, you don't want to be visible. You just want to blend in. You just pretend that you don't exist. But when you come in as a personal brand, you come out and then you have to distinct personal brand identity immediately, that you can establish your brand, you establish who you are, who you want to be known as. Yeah. um, you do a job security as opposed to seeking employability security. This is different. In the old days, if then people say, okay, give me a job, and then I stay there forever. But the youngsters nowadays, they don't want to stay long for one job. Maybe I don't know, 3 4 years, and they want to they want to leave. They want to do something different, and there's nothing wrong with that. Yeah, but you have to have a brand, establish a brand, and then that's so that with that brand, and then you are seeking employability security. That means you can be employable at any time. And then the best is if you have a good brand online, especially, and the uh, the recruiters will look for you. They will offer you a job, and at work, everybody will suggest you if there is any vacancy. For example, if you want to stay with the same company but you want to do a different activities or different departments, because you are tired of staying at the same department, you want to do something different, and then since you already have these good names, a good brand, and then people will suggest you. But even if people don't suggest you, you're going to apply to that particular position, you are employable because you have a very strong brand. And then stick to a linear, predictable career path. Is this pretty much almost like a government? Yeah, you stay and then you stay there, and then you can only be promoted when you reach seniority, and then that's already there. You don't have to do much. But with the personal brand mindset, you always looking for the next career opportunity. Uh, then you also open to the alternate path. It doesn't have to be like I was a product engineer. It doesn't mean that I have to be a product engineer forever. and then I can switch to process, I can switch to development, and I can switch to automation. So this is how I develop the path, and then you have to look at what is opportunity ahead. But of course, you have to prepare. It's not only jump, but you have to prepare. Yeah, it's not like you say, yeah, I just want to jump, I want to keep switching, but you have nothing to offer. And then there's something really around that. Then if you do that once, maybe you can get away with it, but the second time, then it will tarnish your brand. That's not the way to go. And then loyalty, we are not talking about loyalty nowadays. Yeah, nobody's going to stay with the company for quite a long time, not like in the older generations. But you're only loyal for your projects, and loyal for your profession, and loyal for your co-workers and your staff. Because this is, let's say, for example, co-workers. Since everybody are mobile, everybody's moving to different companies, yeah, most of the time. And then you have these good connections. And then if you want to go to the other company, for example, then you have a very good brand established among your co-workers. And then they can be the one that recommend you to go to the next job. And then loyal to the project here means that you're focusing on the project that you're doing, where you're using that platform to develop your skills, develop anything else that you need to move to the next career. The old mindset, or the employee mindset, you are serving the employee. You are career success. You're looking for your career success. But for the personal branding, you're aiming for work-life balance. People ask me the questions whether can we have the work-life balance working in Malaysia? Well, it depends on your definition. What is your definition of work-life balance? And then the success that we have is the holistic life success. We're not talking about, yeah, you have a good car, good house, and then you have a good salary. That's not it. But we're talking about your success in your health, your success about your happiness, internal and external. So that's why you're aiming for work-life balance. And if you look at the people in Europe, for example, people in US nowadays not as good as it was in US, but in Europe it still is, and they have a very good work and life balance. They really work. When they work very seriously. When they get out of the work, then they enjoy life. They really enjoy it. Being a company person, meaning merging with entity with your company values. And then this is in the old days where you represent your companies everywhere you go. But this one is your brand, your own personal brand. You can fit into the company culture. If you do have this, and anywhere you go, either the existing company, you fit into the culture, and also you can go to the other company as well. The employee mindset is you stop learning after you got your degree. Yeah, there's no more learning or anything. But if your personal branding, you always have to upgrade yourself, especially when you are dealing with the technology, you're dealing with engineering. There's something that is keep going and keep improving, or keep renew on the very short period of time, the lifespan. So you have to keep updating yourself through. If you are a video person, you look at YouTube. If you are join the podcast. If you are a reading person, you can look at a magazine, you can look at books, or you can get an ebook, and so many ways that you can learn. You can talk to have a chat or have a nice conversation with your seniors. So this should continue. In the old days, on the employee mindset, it's always want to get this position. Yeah, you want to be proud of. You want to be, I don't know why you want to have, like, say, when you share your business card, for example, you want to show that you have a manager title, you have a director, you have a VP title. But that does not show anything about your competency. You have positions, but it doesn't say anything about what you can do. But in personal brand, you're more talking about what are you capable of doing, so that you are hiring not based on your position, but you're hiring based on your competency. Then it's employee mindset. You just depend on the full-time employment, because right now is you say the economy is not really that good, the starting salary is not really that good, therefore you have to have this way of doing, they call it gig employment, yeah, freelance, doing whatever, anything else out there on the top of your full-time job, or even you can do your gig as a full-time job. Yeah? then you just stay for job, just we talk about just now, staying in one job. But you have to have this knowing that you will have multiple position moving forward. It's not like if when you are a process engineer, you're going to be process engineer forever. But this now moving forward, it looks like you have to be agile. You have to be able, flexible enough to jump from one position over the other. Because the world is moving so fast, then you have to have ever ready. Many of the clients that comes to me, and then it looks like is the career is checkmate because there's no new knowledge, there's no transferable skills to be transferred to somewhere else. I mean, if you plan your career nicely, that you know where you're going at which time, and then you will prepare yourself. Normally, when we look at the employee mindset, right? You're given the opportunity, you're given the job, and then you need somebody to push you. You need your manager to keep checking on you. Sometimes it's very difficult because if your manager don't check, you don't do. But if your manager check, you get very upset. So it's quite dilemma there. But if you have this, your own self-driven in your career, what you want to do, you are really, you don't need to have your manager looking behind your back, and you really have to do it yourself. And you have this self-motivated, self-driven. Therefore, then you establish this brand, and people know that you have this can-do attitude, and you have this self-driven without being driven. Then in the employee mindset, normally you got slammed or you get slapped with the final review or annual review for performance review. Then many of the cases that I heard, you got surprised that you don't know that how your manager views you. You can only know once a year, but that is too late when they give you bad grades. But then you can do your own thing and engaging your success based on your own personal career strategy. So you know where you're going, you know where you're going already. Then you have your steps, or you have your actions to get there, and then you have your own self-discipline, self-checking whether are you there yet, or if you're not there yet, what should you do to speed it up. And many of the cases that we've seen that office politics kills, that office politics creates the toxic environment. You cannot run away from that, unfortunately. Yeah, it's there. But if you building a relationship and building the trust and then authenticity with the relationship among your colleagues, then this you can minimize this office politics. Yeah, nobody is looking at a negative sense. If everybody have their trust, and then you already have a good brand, and then trust is established, and then you don't need to play politics. Labeling yourself for evolving personal brand. Yeah, your brand keep changing, your brand keep moving. Other than that's you already have one brand and people know you as is. No, you have to keep moving, keep evolve so that your brand stay relevant. You can imagine those with the big brands out there, right? How can they stay relevant in the market? Because they keep changing, keep evolving, and then tuning to what market is, what your client is asking. In this case, what is your career, what is your industry is asking you, then you tune towards that direction. Okay. Then if you look at the LinkedIn and how you can do a personal brand, this is more on the LinkedIn perspective on the online presence. If you want to go the online presence, then first you have your profile. Yeah, your profile has to be a star profile, has a very complete about building your personal brand. Yeah, and then you showcase your projects, whatever you do, provide a sample of your work, and then that people know what exactly you're doing and then what is you're capable of. And then you can get your recommendations from your colleagues, and then there's also boost your credibility, especially for those who recommend you as somebody on the is already have some brand established. Yeah, and then get endorsed for your skills. It's the same thing. And then you have to be your profile have to reach this all-star, and that means it's very detailed, it's very complete. If your profile is not complete, and then just using the header, let's say the recruiters wants to search for you, looking for candidates, then if your profile is not complete, and then you may not be discovered. And then your profile has to be reaching this all-star as a complete with everything that you need, everything that it needs to go out there so that you can be discovered. But it doesn't have to be, super long, because in the about me section on LinkedIn, for example, you have 2,000 words. There's a lot of things to write in 2,000 words, and then you can use that, utilize that to showcase what you have to offer. And then they also have a group, a group discussion, a group chat. I'm not very successful in group, but if you have a group in your HR group, a group of your career, and they're also almost like a WhatsApp groups, but they're more professional group. They're not talking about nonsense like a WhatsApp group. Nobody's going to disturb selling you something, but this is the group that talks about certain issues, certain topic related to the field that you are interested in. And then have a right profile picture. The picture is really represent you, then you do your posts on the regular basis, and then you interact with these people, really write your posts. It doesn't have to be daily, but you have to be regular. They say, I would say once a week or a couple of times a week will do. And then you interact with people, you comment with people, then you can show that your opinion and how you behave in the social media, and then how much do you know about certain topics. That is really, give you the leverage of then you create your colleagues, you create your network, and then really there, people know, if they know what you're doing, and people know who you are, as far as brand, and if somebody needs your service, somebody needs your help, then people will more confident, or will share very confidently to get to your service or to get to your brand, whatever that you are selling. Even either you're selling, or either you're selling a product and service, or you're selling yourself to the market out there. This is the tricks. Then add a few. Okay, so in the workplace, and you really, you have to have this. How you different? Yeah, you have to be authentic. Authentic you is not a fake you. It's real you that you have this sincerity in helping somebody, for example, in really volunteering what you want to do at work. So this is really, you have this authenticity that is represent you, that is really the person who wants to help. And then your personality, how you carry yourself, the language that you use, the way you speak to people, the way you entertain people, the way you respond. And then your visions. What do you want to do? Your career vision, especially in now short term, medium term, and the long term. What exactly do you want to do? What do you want to achieve? And then even better, if you know how to get there, your vision and your mission. What are your values? You show all your positive values that you have, and then a commitment. This is very important. When you say you want to do it, do it. If you cannot do it, don't commit. It's okay not to commit. Just be truthful to yourself. If you have too much already on your plate, and the boss keep dumping, and you can tell them, say, I cannot commit it to do it by now, but give me a few more times. You can always play that. Therefore, you can always honor your commitment. It's not like you say everything you can do, but you don't do. That's bad. That tarnish your brand. And then differentiation. How can you be different than anybody else? Therefore, that if you look at the iPhone, how can people are crazy about iPhone? Because it's different than anybody else. And then for you, how are you different? How are you differ from anybody else out there that people is going to go crazy to hire you? So that is pretty much I want to talk about brand, unless there's a question. No, sleeping already. 3:30 is tough. Yeah, it's really tough. It's normally a nap.
I have a question.
Sure.
Not a question, but rather I totally agree with what you described in terms of personal branding, but my question, sorry, I do have a question. My question is, as you grow in your career, I guess
Mhm.
it's easier for you to actually um, set or define your personal branding. But what about the young ones? Because the young ones, especially those who just started working 1 or 2 years,
Mhm.
how would you guide them in terms of developing their personal brand? Because I believe, first year, second year of working, they are still looking for what is it that they want to do, what is it they're good at. They're still in a way finding themselves.
Yes.
So yeah. So how would you guide them through? Thanks.
What people are looking for at a very young age, right? You can hear people says, we hire you for your attitude, not for your skill of your knowledge. So your brand should go around your attitude, and then how you behave, and then how you. Let's say, for example, if you have a diverse workplace, yeah, with diverse means age, race, and then how do you handle that without being too Malay, for example, yeah, without being too Muslim, for example, and then how can you deal with that? Then the way you communicate with people with respect, yeah, sometimes you're not happy with it, fine, but of course, the way you speak, the way you carry yourself is the one that defines your brand. Because I tell you, when I was young, I was too American, yeah, because I pretty much spent too much time in the US. And then when I was working part time, uh, my colleague was African American and Spanish, and coming from not so good environment, and the language is not fun. Somehow I get carried away with that language even at work, and then that creates a lot of problems at the very beginning of my career, because people don't like to see, the choice of words that I use, even though I'm not really that bad kind of person, but because of their background and then the way I carry myself, and then it's not a good way to go. Therefore, my advice to the youngsters is just, since you don't have anything yet in terms of technical capabilities, you're still looking for what exactly you want to go and which area you want to venture into, but your attitude and then your personality will go a long way. So if you can, be a, I'm not saying you be a nice guy, you're really being a yes man, no, but there's certain way of if you are welcome to disagree, but with a certain way of disagreement. As long as you stay professional, then in your communication, they say how you handle the situation, um, then it will not tarnish your brand. So again, your attitude and your personality at the very beginning, that will determine your brand. Okay,
I think we do also have some questions flowing in.
sure.
One is more of a statement. This person says, I feel like personal branding is more about being open minded, being flexible, and being adaptable. In other words, we are prioritizing in self improvement. So, this is what the person shared.
Yeah.
And yeah, so is there anything you would like to add on?
Um, no. I think it's right there. Um,
I captured the essence, right?
yeah.
So there's another question is what is from Ayn Shafini. So what is your opinion on personal branding by creating a video? For example, like a video resume. What is the recommended duration for the video to include all the relevant information necessary for the employer?
People start talking about resume nowadays. I have no problem with that. That is should be the a complement of your paper resume. Yeah. But what I've seen so far is the quality of the video is really bad. If you want to do your resume and then you really do it in a professional way, it's really high quality video with a good audio and a good video and a clear lighting and everything, and then your narrative at the background, the voiceover or the narration at the background has to be really, really strong. Otherwise, you are better off with just a paper resume. Yeah, it can be powerful. Yes, it can be powerful because it shows a lot more of your brand, a lot more of your personality, the way you speak, the way you carry yourself, the way you even communicate. Because if you look at during the interview, face to face, especially virtual, is quite difficult, but still can do it. They're not looking, they don't really look on your absolute answer. They just want to see how do you answer it and then how you respond based on your body movement, yeah, based on your body language. So body language tells a lot more than your verbal language. Therefore, if you do it in a resume kind of form, and then if you have the video of yourself, and then make sure that that transpires very well. Yeah, else it gives the wrong message. But so far, what I've seen from the students, especially, I've never seen it from the professional yet. From the students that they shared with me, then I would rather not to use that resume.
Okay, thank you for the answer. I think that is all for now.
Okay, good. So let's talk about interview skill. Yeah. So say now you've done your resume, you've done your cover letter, it's very nice, and then you get called for interview. Yeah, congratulations for that. And then now, what do you have to prepare during the interview? This is something that, of course, it depends on how good or how bad you are. Yeah. So many of my clients, I would say, majority of them very good. They just need some push. They just need some guidance how to be in the interview. It's a very small portion of it. It's really very difficult. It's very, you know, it needs to have some attitude adjustment in a sense, and then also renew the skills, how to answer the interview questions. First, it's not so much of the knowledge and the skills that one can acquire, but the way how you present yourself, the way how you share yourself, yeah, the way how you deliver the answer. It's not so much the answer itself, but the way you deliver the answer that makes it different. You prepare the elevator pitch. So the elevator pitch is the part that okay, let's do this one first. And then first you do the research of the company that you're interviewing for. For the big companies, normally you do have, but the small company is a bit challenging because they may not present in the social media. You can look at their Facebook. They may have some information on Facebook, Glassdoor. One thing that I noticed in the Glassdoor, for example, yeah, only for those who don't like the company writes a comment. For those who likes, rarely write. So the ratio between people who likes, people don't like is not there. So it's quite biased if you look at the way things are presented. But it's still good to use a guide as a guidance, so that you are aware that where you're getting into or what company that you're getting into. Yeah. So research the company, their business, their culture, get to know them very well. The best, if you have the LinkedIn account, then you know which company that you're going to apply for. Get connected with the internal people, and then they should be able to share with you the culture, or more information of the company that otherwise is not available in the public. Of course, they are still restricted to share a lot more detail, but I think that it is good enough for you to prepare for the interview. Study your resume and know it well. So this is something that I say, hey, this is something my resume. Why didn't I know it? Then you're going to be surprised that many people cannot explain what's inside in the resume. Yeah, the resume is well written, but it cannot explain what's inside in the resume. So you really have to know, because sometimes the hiring manager asking questions is not in the order of your resume. It may go flip back and forth, and then you should know well what you write in your resume in terms of it, especially your achievements. Make sure that it makes sense that you can defend. If you have been challenged, you can defend. You know the job description or position you're applying for. This is normally the problem with the youngsters, yeah, because they don't understand the job description. I would encourage you to get help from somebody, or you can always come to me and say, hey, I have this job description. I don't understand. Can you explain it to me? So that if you understand the job description better, you can write your resume better. Then of course this one you already got an interview, but the questions in the interview will be around these job descriptions to see whether do you understand every one of them or not. Can you explain? So this is very important to understand. You can predict a job interview questions and then prepare the answers. This one is the questions is out there in you can Google it, or any of these questions. Pretty much many interviewers recycle the same questions, but the question is not an issue. The issue is how to answer the questions. So this thing that you really have to prepare the answer. When you answer the interview question, it's not one-liner, please. Yeah, if they ask you to explain, really explain. Takes a lot of time. 2 minutes, 3 minutes, or even up to 5 minutes per questions. My advice is always know how long is 2 minutes. Yeah? During my mock interview sessions, it's normally the answer is 30 seconds. They say that there's already 4 minutes, but it's actually only 30 seconds. So you really have to know how long is that. And I would say 2 to 3 minutes per answer is really good. If an answer that needs you to describe the process, probably up to 5 minutes should be good. But of course, don't limit it by the time, but it's more focused on the content. You display your skill with the concrete example. Let's say if you know you say you can do a project management, you can give a focus of give an example in which situation that you have become a good project manager. If you know about data analysis, for example, and then you show which cases that you do data analysis that leads to solution and contribution. Then you prepare your interview toolkits. The interview toolkit is basically the all the information that you have in the folder that you can bring it over. Dress well, because your clothes is the first impressions. And then people say, hey, what if the company only requires me to wear jeans and slacks, and then can I go for interview with jeans and slacks and flip-flops? No, you still have to come to the interview with the best dress that you have. If you don't have it, you want to borrow from somebody, because this makes a very good first impression. Yeah, wear the plain clothes and then really nice, really present yourself. Of course, dress well definition differ from everyone, but if you wear decent enough and then it will acceptable to the interview, then you manage to give a good impression. And then you build your rapport during the interview. It's face-to-face, you smile, small talk, and handshake. I noticed that nowadays handshake is a problem, because the youngsters don't shake hands very well. I don't know why. They don't really, willingly to really have a firm grip during the handshake, and then it's not long enough. It's not firm, it's not long enough. And then handshake should be firm and then long enough that if the someone give the hand first, and then you have to wait until that particular someone to take the hand out, then you take the hand. Be calm, confident, positive, and focused. This is the thing. This is your you cannot be calm because you're so nervous. And then how do you control? You really have to learn how to control your nervousness, right? And if you're too nervous, and then you lose everything. You cannot be yourself. You cannot present, even though no matter how prepared at the beginning you have prepared, you have all the answer very well, but you are nervous. Therefore, that really kills you. And then you really have to manage your nervous, and then let's say drink the water if you have to, take a deep breath. And the reason many people told me that they get nervous is because they feel like very small compared to the interviewer and then the other side, the panel. Obviously, yes, because if you are a fresh graduate, of course, you don't expect a fresh graduate to interview you. They're normally the manager, at least the technical leads. Those are the people who have experience. And then you have to get used to it, because if you get a job, then you're going to be dealing with these people. Most probably these people is going to be your manager or your team lead. And then you have to be comfortable. If you're not comfortable, then it's very difficult. Then you prepare your elevator pitch. This is like, tell me about yourself. This is basically your elevator pitch, and then you cover everything that you can sell on the tell me about yourself at the very beginning. And then don't be modest, sell yourself. Yeah, this one is really boast a bit on your, and then make an eye contact, especially during the virtual interview. It's quite difficult. Normally you tend to look at your screen, but you look at the camera, and they really have the eye contact. And then just be yourself. Don't act. Don't pretend to be somebody else. Don't you can tell whether you are being you, or you are pretend to be an actor, to be somebody else. And then, because the point is, if you are acting during the interview, and then the interviewer thinks this is who you really are, and then you are going to ended up being acting for the rest of your career with that company. It's not fun. And then I would rather be yourself. If they don't want to accept you to be yourself, then you don't want to work there anyway, right? Because you want to work in a place that you want to be comfortable. You want to be yourself. Prepare your thought-provoking questions. This one is how you ask questions later towards the end, or you can challenge them as well. Interview is not just they are asking you, but you can also asking them on those tough questions. Use STAR methods if you have to explain, especially in the problem solving. Yeah, problem solving. You can say what situation that your problem is, and then what are tasks that needs to be done, what is actual actions that you're taking, and then what are the results out of that actions. Then that gives you a very systematic way of telling how you resolve the issues. Normally, this STAR method applies to if you have to share the problems that you'll be dealing with and how you resolve the issue. And then you do the follow-up quickly. Quickly meaning nowadays it's not really a problem, because you can always have access to your email or WhatsApp immediately right after the interview to say thank you for the opportunity. And then a week later you follow up whether you get a job or not. Else in another week, then you follow up again until you get the final answer whether you get or you don't get the job. Okay, so this is the STAR methods. Yeah, you boost your job interview situation, describe the situation, and then what was the task in this situation, what was the action you did, what the result. So I just repeat that. So for the dress, yeah, right now I know you guys, youngsters especially, you have a checkered pants that comes with a lines and some pictures, and then sometimes you have a pink, green pants, all this kind of stuff. In the Malaysian environment, the hiring manager is still very, if you want to call it old-fashioned, it's okay. Yeah, it's very conservative still. And then this is the way how you wear to go for interview. If you want to put on a jacket, it's also fine. But at the very least, you have these dress pants, dress shoes. You have your belt, you have your tie, your plain clothes. Whatever color, it doesn't matter. But it's nice to have a black or dark pants, and then light shirts, and then ties that go along with it. Then for the female, if you want to cover, and then you can wear this. Of course, baju kurung is also acceptable. Then if you want to do a free hair, you can do it like this, and then not to expose your skin too much. Yeah, be it a Muslim or non-Muslims, please avoid yourself to expose your skin. Same with the guys.
Isha, there's
Yes.
a question here.
Yeah.
So this question says from Dayan Khalida. She says, Sir, I've read several articles on the effect of neutral outfit colors that would help us during interviews, such as navy blue that will make you look more professional. So her
Yeah.
question is, would it actually have an effect on the interviewees?
It does. It gives the first impressions. What kind of person are you? I suppose, let's say if you wearing the very colorful shirts, example, yeah, that they say, I don't know, you wear this Hawaiian beach shirt, for example, that goes along with your sweatpants. Yeah, that makes a big difference. But it's better to wear a contrast color is a neutral color, so-called. I call it fall color. In the fall, to wear this, but it's a little bit of if you're female, it's okay. You can put a little bit of color. It's not a problem, but not too much of the color. And it makes a difference in the sense of if you have a competitor. Yeah. If you don't have a competitor, then it's solely based on your capabilities. But if somebody have to decide between the two, then it becomes the tiebreaker. Then also give the first impression. Yeah, the first impression. I have someone comes from the Australian graduates come with pajamas. To me, it's pajamas. To her, maybe not, but to me, it's pajamas. So she did not get a job not because of the pajamas. She did not get a job because she was requesting a permission to answer the question in Mandarin. Yeah? So then I did not give the job.
Okay, I think that the question.
Okay, so I'm gonna play this video is this video. I'm not sure how the I hope you can hear because the audio is not really that good because this is candidly recorded through cell phone when I was doing this class in UITM.
Isha, we can't hear the sound. There's no sound.
Sorry?
There's no sound being played. There's no audio.
Oh, there's no audio. It's too.
I think that it is in the share screen option. When you share screen on Zoom, there is an option to share camera, computer sound.
Where is it?
I think it should be on the top of your screen.
The top on the screen, and then I have
the controls. There should, or perhaps you could try to reshare your screen.
a reshare. Okay, I stopped sharing, is it?
Yes. So when you reshare, you want to make sure that the share computer sound checkbox is checked.
Okay, hold on, give me a second. Share. And then share this one. But it doesn't say anything about share sound.
Yes.
Yeah. Let's see whether this works. To have this to express is really have to be honest and you really have to use in the real interview. Does it work?
Yes, the sound, but it's very soft, very soft.
Yeah, it is quite soft.
You're talking to me, that you really have to look at me, interviewer. You really show that. Let your hand free. If you speak, we have. This really have to be.
Let me try to make it my computer sound.
In the real interview, this really have to be honest, and you really have to. You're talking to me. You're talking to me, that you really have to look at me, interviewer. You really show that. Let your hand free. If you speak, we have be it, but don't speak with the hand. You know what I mean? Some of them is hand more faster than it's a reasonable hand movement because you do need to have this to express yourself. And I give him the benefit of the doubt because he's not ready, so it's not that confidence. It's a lot of a lot of other sounds than the real one. But if you're really ready for the interview, then the way you speak, then it's okay to speak slowly, but clearly, and there's nothing in between. So if you're talking that you have to give time to your brain, because what formulate your brain first and then come to your mouth. But if your mouth goes faster than your brain, then you have a trouble. Right? Your brain cannot process. You're already up there, and then your brain cannot catch up. So you have to allow your brain to engage first. It takes like 10 seconds or 20 seconds for brain to start first. Then you start talking. Then you can continue. Your brain can continue supplying as you talk. Then there's no disturbance in between. That's how you deliver anything that you do presentation is. You have to make sure that your brain you control in such a way that you formulate everything that you want to talk about and then send to your mouth later. So you always have a pre-processed information here before it sends to your mouth. If your mouth goes faster, there's a gap. Then you're still struggling again to look for something, right?
Okay. So that's it about interview. Any question?
I don't think there's any questions as of now.
Okay. Want to take a break before next one? Okay, let's have a 5 minutes break.
Okay. So before we go to this break, right, we would invite everyone to join us in for a photo session, if that's all right. So Isha, could I trouble you to just stop share for a bit?
Sure.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Should have done it earlier. Now my face messed up already.
It still looks good, no worries. So I would like to invite everyone to turn on your cameras, show us your beautiful and handsome faces, so that we can take a group photo to crystallize this moment. Don't be shy. We are all very friendly. Great to see y'all's faces. Good to know the people who are behind the high energy chats.
Sorry, guys.
All right, just waiting for a few more people. Yes. Do your hair, do your twisty tang, doing her tudong. So cute.
I don't have hair, how to do?
Okay, if everyone is ready. Hold on, give me a second. All right, if everyone is ready, I will proceed to take a photo. All right. So, get ready, everybody. A few more. Turning on your cameras. Okay. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Smile. Okay. One more. Hold on. Let me go to the next page. All right. One more. All right. 1, 2, 3. Smile. All right. Amazing. Thank you, everybody. You may go for your break. We will meet back in about 5 minutes. So if you see on your screen right now, we have deployed our second poll. It would be great if everyone could give your input on, whether you are studying or you are working, so we can, get to know each other a little bit more and we can make more content tailored to your target group, right? So thank you for that. Also, someone asked if we will be sending a recording, or will there be a recording to watch later on. Yes, it will be on our Tulips Movement YouTube. So be sure to like and subscribe. If you want to watch back the content, refresh your memory, you can always do that. And also don't forget to follow us on Instagram, like us on Facebook, and follow us on LinkedIn as well to get the latest updates on Tulips Movement's events. Isha, if you're ready to start, you may go ahead and share your screen as well.
Okay. Okay, can you see my screen? All right, so this is the latest employment rate in Malaysia. Right now, as you can see, is about 700, close to 800,000 people are unemployed. Then if you look at the trend, starting from July onwards, it doesn't look, or even from June, it doesn't look like it's going to go any lower. It's quite flat until February. And then the number of March won't have not available yet. So it looks like it's going to stay a little bit longer. Okay. So there's a poll, there's a poll from that I found it online for the job hunting. If you're sending 250 resumes, you would get 4 to 6 interviews, and you get one job offer. So this is from Glassdoor. So that means your odd is 1 out of 250. So if you're sending 100, 200, then you may not get a job. You're sending 50, you may get one interview, but no job. Yeah, so that's what this number is telling you. So 250 50 applications, and then about 4 to 6, I would say 5 of them got interviewed, and then one offer. Okay, so what happens out there right now? Yeah, the reality is we have retrenchments, and then VSS, hiring freeze by MNCs. That was a couple months back, but now I've seen MNCs start to open slowly. Then downsizing and the restructuring of SMEs. This one I've not seen yet coming. And then it has been an employer's market for the past 20-something years, unfortunately. I would say for the past 20 years or so. Yeah, it's an employer's market. That means employer is the one who dictates the market. I remember back then when it was an employee market, when I graduated, its employee market is towards the end almost, yeah, in the mid 90s, where my friend who had a much better results, and then they got the job offer as early as the 3rd year. Many of them get a job offer on the 1st semester or the 4th year, and they can name their own salary at that time. Yeah, so on the average, at that time, 2004, 2005 was the common. Some of them can get up to 3,000. That was 25 years ago. Because at that time it was an employee's market, yeah. But now it's an employer's market. It's unfortunately to the employee. That employer decides how much they're gonna pay, take it or leave it. Okay, so What are the issues? Among the issues are the supply of graduates from IPTS and then IPTA are much less than much more than the demand of the job created. Should be more there. Then the quality of the graduate versus quantity, the program to job matching, and then also plug and play versus plug and pray. The quality of graduates, this is a long debate. It's basically whether or not, especially those in the engineering field, the employer is expecting that the graduates can do the job on the first day, but that's not the case. Therefore, the quality of the graduate versus quantity. Therefore, many of the big companies are doing their own programs, or they sub it to pay somebody else to do the program before they can get into the job. And then the program to the job matching, the program offers by university is not what industry is looking for. So we have this mismatch. And then this plug and play is pretty much together with the quality, because what is expected by the company is the graduates can just be plug and play. But what happens is they plug and then they pray. Hopefully that goes very well. Okay.
Hi, Isha. So sorry to interrupt you.
Yes.
Your video is turned off.
I'm sorry?
Your camera.
Oh, okay.
Can't see you. Yes.
Okay, sorry about that. Can you hear me all right?
Yes, all good.
Okay. So then we have this stagnation of the starting salary for more than 20 years. This is something that's been debating back and forth, but it's not much I can do. It's not much what we are pushing. We try to push to change this, but yeah, as long as the employer says there's somebody who takes the job with the current salary, then it's not going to go anywhere. Right now, it's about that. But for the big employee, for the big companies, normally they're paying a lot better compared to the smaller companies. Are graduates being choosy in selecting the jobs? I don't know whether that is really the case. To me, the way I see it is candidates don't know what are the role and responsibility of the engineering function, for example, and they really don't know. And then lack of knowledge of the industry, they have not really spent that much time understanding what are the available industries out there where they fit into that industry. Then of course the expectations, and then the reality, where let's say, for example, as an engineer, they expect to do this and to do that, but when it comes to work, and then that's not what they're doing. Therefore, they do not like to do the job because that's not what they expect. The waiting time, from what I've seen from those who are not really that super good, for those who are really good, they can get a job almost immediately. But for those who are not, then you can get about 3 to 5 months. And then for those who are excellent, they get a job almost immediately. For those who are good, probably 3 to 4 months. For those who are average, maybe you can wait up to 6 to 8 months, depending on your job hunting strategy, depending on the quality of your resume. And those are the about time. So if you are expecting to have a job almost immediately, then you fall into the average. That may not be realistic. Okay, so what to do? In this current situation, especially, companies don't advertise vacancies to cut costs. Yeah, so to do so, you need to insider information. That's why it's very important to get connected to the company that you are looking for or you want to work for. And then the internal staff normally knows about vacancies. So if they don't advertise, they're gonna say, hey, we have vacancies here, can you look for your stuff? Some companies, they do have this the hiring programs or referral program, like Intel, for example, and Infineon, they do these referral programs, and then they don't advertise, but the internal staff knows. And then when they bring in good candidates, they got rewarded as well for bringing good candidates. So in order to cut costs, they don't advertise, and then they advertise internally. You have to compete, unfortunately, only the best wins, and then really have to have the healthy competition. You must be willing to postpone your dream job. Yeah, so you have to start somewhere. Let's say, for example, you want to work with a big oil and gas company, but your result is not good enough, and then you try several times, many times, still cannot get a job. Then you have to start somewhere. Start small with some other still within the oil and gas company, maybe the small company that get the contracts. They may not pay that much, but you can use that still as a platform to learn. Then eventually, if you are so happens that you are serving Petronas, you can establish your brand among your clients. And that time, your clients is Petronas, and then you may have a chance, if there is any vacancy, then you may have a chance to work with Petronas after a couple of years. And you need to go beyond your field of studies. If you're looking for within the field of studies, then maybe it's not available anymore. And then you have to explore the commonality, what is common between your field of studies, between what you learn in college and what you can sell. And if you find that commonality, then you can start somewhere else. Let's say you are oil and gas, but you want to work in semiconductor, for example. That works as well. And when hopefully when the oil and gas start to pick up, then you can come back. Of course, not too long, probably within 2 to 3 years, you can always come back. Make use of internship to be able to contribute immediately. That means if you are students and then you have this chance to go for internship, and you really have to show that you really are hireable candidates for that. And then you will have to be very proactive to show that you are really interested in doing the job, and then you're really hungry to do the job. So that then your attitude will appear. Then the people around you notice, especially the hiring manager or the big managers or the big technical people out there. They recognize you that you can do the job. Then most probably you can get a job immediately right after. Then issue is on the starting salary. Yeah, the low starting salary is not much you can do really, but you can aim for the big companies because they have standard starting salary is quite decent. It's maybe slightly vary from science and engineering compared to the rest. High CGPA may get more, a couple hundred more probably. Additional skills, and then you may have, if you have unique skills that nobody else has, then you can offer a premium a bit on that, and then focus on TCC versus basic salary. That means some companies are offering very low basic salary, but they have high bonus, or they have low basic salary, but they have some allowances to make up to that. And then all in all, in the year, what I normally do is I look at the total annual income or annual TCC, and then divide by 12. So that will be my expected monthly package, not just basic salary, but the whole package. The danger is if you're focusing so much on the basic salary, what if the other company goes to give you basic salary, but they don't have a strong bonus systems, and they don't have allowances, for example, then at the end of the day, at the end of the year, your annual salary may be less than what your previous company, even though you have some good increment. So you have to be careful on that, on negotiating your salary. So you know yourself, yeah, you know yourself, you know your interests, you know your skill, you know accomplishment, experience, goal, and values. This is all the information that goes into your resume. If you don't have such information, you don't know, then it's very difficult to sell. You aim for the right target and to match what you want and what you have in the point number one with a career choice. You have to learn about the industries, you learn about the companies. What I've seen, especially from the fresh graduate, they only know the big names. They don't know anybody else is doing it. There's a lot more out there within any industry there's a lot more smaller company or medium company that you can try, you can work with. It's not just big names. Be assertive and then proactive. You need to go out and then don't wait. And then even if you have to do a cold calling, you do a cold calling, yeah, to make sure that you get your chance, you get your message across, and then you got the opportunity for at least for the interview. And then do the right investigation, get to know the vacancy before anyone else. This is from insider information. Normally, by the time you seen it in the newspaper, not newspaper, in the online job portal, it's already too late. Somebody already know about it. And then work the network, use your network, inform your network that you are available. Let's say LinkedIn, for example, or your friends, or your colleagues, and know you're available, and then you need help. And then as soon as they find a vacancy somewhere that fit you, they know you well, and then hopefully they can recommend you to them. And then if you've done that, you cannot do anything, you still cannot get a job, and then you can get professional help. Yeah, get consult your career coaches or your recruiters. They can help you. The difference between here, the career coaches and recruiters is career coaches don't do a job placement, but they guide you how to get a job and then fix your resume, fix your interview and everything. Then recruiters will represent you to sell to the company, but after that, the interview and everything, you still have to do it by yourself. And then the consultant coaches normally, career coaches normally charge you fee. Recruiters not, because recruiters get the money from the company, from the hiring company. Career coaches do not have any relationship with the hiring companies. You have to be temporarily flexible, take any available jobs. It's better, it's a lot better than waiting for dream jobs. From my experience in the past, it's a lot easier to get a job if you're working. And then there's also experience from my client as well. If you're not working, then it's very difficult to get a job. If you're working, regardless what you do, it's easier for you to get a job. Say it clearly. That means in your CV and a cover letter why you're fit to the position, why you fit to the position. So make sure that you explain clearly in the cover letter, especially why you think you fit for the position. And your CV, you really put everything that is required by the job description that if you have into your CV. Keep careful records. This one is. I myself don't do it, and some people they do it. I've seen it. You keep records of everything else. The good thing about this is you do this once, because as we mentioned earlier on the branding, that you may want to keep looking for a job every 3 to 4 years. Then this list comes handy, that you know already their website, you know already their contact number, who to talk to. Then when the time to comes, the next time you're looking for a job, and this gonna help you to choose which company, that since now you are familiar with the industry, then you are better informed in the situation. Then you already have a list of the companies that you can go to. That really helps you to cut short on your searching. Yeah, never give up and keep hustling. Be persistent, and if you're tired, take a break. But you have to continue anyway, because it's not over until you get a job. You have no other way. Okay, so that is pretty much it I have for today. For the job hunting strategy, door-to-door application, you can do a job portal, social media, your online presence, cable. Yeah, cable is not a negative thing. Cables and networks. So you really have to work with the network, especially establish your network. If they know who you are, it's not like when you come in, then you say, "Hey, sir, do you have vacancies?" Of course, they won't. They tell you they do, but they're not going to help you because they don't know who you are. But if you already establish a good relationship with with whoever that you want to target it to be your network, it can be your seniors, it can be your relatives, and somebody that can help you. It's not to help you to get a job because you don't qualify. Yeah, you have to qualify first. Just to be clean, you are qualifying, but only you need just to the people to bridge you to the hiring manager. And then, of course, the decision solely depends on your performance during the interview, whether or not you get a job. That one is something else. But your challenge, most of the problem is not to perform during the interview to get a job, but it's more like your challenge is to get a chance to be called for interview. So this is the channel. Use your network and use your people to get that connected. Okay, so with that, that's all I have. Open to the question.
Thank you, Ishak, for that amazing 2 hours and about 20 minutes. So if anyone has any questions or you would like to share your learnings, nuggets of learnings, or just want to connect with Ishak, you can feel free to put that in the chat, or maybe we welcome you to also unmute your mic, maybe turn on your camera so that we can have a better conversation as well. I hope this moment of time is everyone typing into the chat.
Hello.
They're really speechless, huh?
Hello.
Sorry.
Good afternoon.
Hi, Shabir.
Yes, good afternoon. Who's talking? Shabir?
Yeah. I can't seem to on my camera because there's a problem with my webcam. But anyways, I just wanted to say thanks first of all to Tulips and Mr. Ishak for this session this afternoon. Okay, so moving on to my question to Mr. Ishak. Okay, so I've been following your posts on LinkedIn for quite some time, but I've always had a question. Because right now, like a lot of companies, besides doing one-on-one interviews, right, they also conduct group assessments.
Yes.
So are there like any ways to, tips or tricks to differentiate yourself during group assessments? Do you have like any advice on this type of scenario?
Yes. That was my first interview 25 years ago with Shell. They had a group interview. It started at 7:30 in the morning and ends up about 6 o'clock in the evening. I wish I could have go back and then, went it through again and do it differently. What I noticed that when you do in a group interview, there's a attention between, because everybody wants to have, right? Everybody wants to be dominant. So if my fault back then was I wasn't that dominant. I did not know. I was like a very passive on the background. I did not really do anything. So to do that, then you really have to, first you take actions. Yeah, be a volunteer, for example, to be the first volunteer to lead. That show your leadership. At the very beginning. Then when you already on the lead role, because everybody want to be a lead, but if you're not fast enough, you may not be. Then you have to be on the lead and then take charge, do the leadership, take charge, and then control the team. Then you manage the team. But of course, everybody try to show they're the best. That's then the interviewers see also how do you manage these people. Yeah, especially during the discussion, because everybody try to show they're the best. So how can you top it up? So first, you really have to be active, and then first proactive, and then active. But if you're passive, then forget it. If somebody else is so fast, and then you cannot see the visibility. Not only just the talking, yeah, because you are not viewed by just the talking. Everybody can talk. That's not an issue. But how do you manage? How do you do the job? How do you resolve the issue? How do you they monitor you? How do you go about resolving the problem? And then how your critical thinking comes, because normally in the team they give you a work, a project to do it, and then they just monitor. Then they want to see your behavior there. So make sure that you're really active. Then you really, if you think of your problem solving, maybe you're thinking out loud. Therefore, meaning you say what you think, that thinking out loud, and then they can see that you are really active and you're really contributing. So this is what they're looking for.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Isak.
Welcome.
Thank you, Shabe, for your question. That was a very, very great question, and Isha gave a lot of insights. I just want to convey a few messages for you, Isha, from the audience. This is from Terry. Mentioned that this has been a great session for someone who has never been on a job hunt. It does shine some light on some ways for him to start. So glad
Welcome.
to hear.
That is the program is all about, right? So this is what we are trying to achieve.
And there is also a question coming from Terry, which is during an interview, some employers may ask us on the wage or the salary that we are comfortable with. How do you tackle these kinds of questions?
What are you comfortable with? How much? Normally, I think it's better before you go for interview, or even before you do a job hunting. You can do a background check on this salary report, for example. You can pretty much gauge what that company is asking for. Yeah. Some companies are different. Their level, and especially when you're fresh graduate, also have a different level. I just had this recently, people come to me and saying, "Hey, I get this X amount of money from company A, but I thought from my research it showed that this company is paying a lot more. But what should I do?" And then I say, if you have a proof that this company is paying others a lot more, but they're paying you a lot less, you can go and renegotiate and bring your facts on the table saying, "Hey, I've seen this advertisement, exactly what I'm doing, why I got paying less." And then by then, and then they definitely get caught off guard, and then they maybe honor you a bit more, but may not be giving the whole thing because each position has a budget by itself. But it's nothing wrong to name your own value in a very polite way. But of course, you have to do your homework, because if you push too far and then they say no, then you lose it altogether. Yeah. But of course, if they really lowball you, then it's at the ridiculous value. You don't want to work there anyway. It's always a sensitive topics, but of course you can always negotiate. Yeah. But of course you to negotiate you have to come with facts and figures, right? It's not you can say, "Hey, my friend so and so got this amount, but why do I get this amount? What is the proof?" You cannot say like that. I also can say, "My friend got 20,000, but why are you paying me 15,000?" I can ask for 20,000, right? But that doesn't work.
Hello.
Yes.
Touching back on Terry's question, how far along during the interview process do we bring up the subject of our salary? And do we wait for the interviewer to bring it up, or do we ourselves bring it up if they don't bring it up? Because
if they don't bring it up, for me, I always ask at the very beginning because I don't want to waste the time. Yeah, that's one thing. But for youngsters, don't do that. You can always do your research. Yeah, you can always do your research. But during the interview, if nobody mentioned, then don't mention. You can later on, you can say, okay, because by then you should know who your HR is, right? Because your first contact is HR. Then then you can go to HR and saying offline without the hiring manager and say, "I have a question on the salary. What is the range? If you don't tell me exactly how much, tell me what is the range that you are offering." Then you can compare to yourself whether you're comfortable with the range or not. Yeah, even before they invite you for interview, you can also ask, what is the range of the salary? Because if the salary does not fit with what I want, I don't want to go through the lengthy process and painful process of interview. At the end, I come to know that the salary doesn't fit. Not during the interview, but during let's say you are inviting for interview, for example, then you can ask the range. Or right after the interview, if you did not have a chance to do that, right after the interview, you can still ask for the range. But the best is to the front, because if you know already what they're gonna offer you, you're not comfortable with it, then don't proceed with the interview. It doesn't make sense.
All right, understood, Mr. Isak. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you for the question again, Shabe. There's another question here in the chat from Nurul Ain. So she says she's quite interested to land a job in Infineon later when she graduates. So her studies is in manufacturing engineering technology. So do you think that she can match with the company's background?
I cannot say that. I'm an ex in Infineon. I don't work for Infineon anymore. But of course, I cannot say upfront and say you can get a job, right? It's more individual. But as manufacturing technology is to be honest, this is a new field. Yeah, it's not a standard field. Infineon is a very old-fashioned company, I would say, in a sense, because we honor if you're engineering, you are in the core engineering, mechanical, electrical, chemical. Yeah, of course we don't hire civil because we don't do construction. So these are the one that is engineering or mechatronic. You give a chance to mechatronic. But the rest is those the new hybrid. They call it hybrid engineering. We have to consider it based on the candidate one-on-one basis. What is the kind of attitude? What they have to offer? How much do you know about semiconductor and this kind of thing? Or do you, even though you do learn manufacturing technology, but it's maybe more generic, that does not support manufacturing, semiconductor manufacturing itself, either in the fab, which is one we have fab in Kulim, and then or the back end in Malacca. I cannot guarantee that you're going to get a job here because I don't work there anymore to begin with. And of course, if you listen to my talk today, then they're going to kill me. I can say that. But you can always apply if you fit the requirement. I think it's right now is CGPA is 3.2 or 3.3. Then you should be okay.
Thank you, Ishak, for your answer. Is there anyone with any questions? Burning questions. Now is a very good time to ask. We have
Dayang raise a hand.
Oh.
Hello, Mr. Ishak.
Yes.
This is Dayang. First and foremost, thank you for today's insight. Very insightful. And also thanks also to Tulips for this opportunity. So actually, I've never been to landed a real job myself. Basically, we are just students. We are more to part-time jobs and also practicums.
Yes.
But I've read a lot about interviews and what do you expect during interviews. And some of them I've read about is called behavior-based interviews, where they would actually ask us the time when you made an unpopular decision or something like that. So I would like to ask, is it possible, when they ask us to that, is there any ways for us to tackle that kind of questions, Mr. Ishak?
These kind of questions is a lot of answers available in Google if you Google it. Yeah, so it's no secret. But and then there's no right and wrong answer either. That's a good thing about it. Yeah, there's no right or wrong answer. This kind of question, behavior based, is just to gauge what kind of person are you, whether you fit into the position or not. One thing that you can do upfront, maybe you can take those behavior tests that's available out there. There's a lot of behavior tests that you can take online for free. Then you know whether you fit into that, because some managers are looking, or some position requires certain behaviors. So that is why this behavior question come out. If you does not fit into that question, it does not mean that you cannot work for that company. You may not fit for that particular position. If that position requires certain type of behavior or characteristics based on that test, and that normally the question is derived from those tests. See what kind of person are you. Some companies, you do have to take this test upfront to decide what kind of person are you, whether you can fit for that job. Then based on that, they decide whether to call you for interview. It's not something that you can do otherwise, because this is you, this is your personality, this is your behavior. Unless you know it for sure, that you say, hey, you're supposed to be analytic, but you are kind of management, for example. And then you have to change your behavior to be more analytic if you want to work into analytic field. That it won't take overnight. It takes some time to do that. But there's no wrong and right answer, obviously, and then they're looking for the specific behavior or attitude that you have, which is you come as is, yeah, unless it takes some time to change. It's nothing that you can do otherwise. If you don't get a job because of this behavior, there's nothing you can do otherwise, because that's your personality.
Noted, Mr. Ishak. Thank you very much for the answers, sir.
All right, we have another question here from Ali. Her question is it good to start an internship at a small company or a large company?
Internship or working with a small or large company is up to you. Yeah, it's up to your personality. If you are kind of person who are very structured, you know, is very SOP kind of guy, and then the big companies is for you. But if you are, you know, if you're a small company, you work at a small company, and they throw you into the sea and ask you to swim. If you're that kind of person who can swim, then you go to the small companies. Yeah, small companies normally they hire you for that particular position, and maybe you are the only one who's doing it. There's no reference whatsoever. Then you have to do it by yourself. If you're that kind of person who liked that kind of challenge, then small companies for you. But if you're really structured and then you are patient enough to wait for the management decision, it takes forever to decide, then a big company is for you. It's not right, it's not wrong. It still goes back to your personality. It goes that both offer a very good career, both offer potential, but the career growth and the career prospectus come from you, not from the company. If you don't work for it, no matter how good your company is, then you're not going to get where you want to go. I hope that answered the question.
Agreed. Thank you, Isha. Does anyone have any more questions? If you are...
It can be any questions that is not related for today's topic. It doesn't have to be within today's topic. But if you have some other question that you have in mind that I may be able to answer, I try to answer.
Mr. Ishak, sorry.
Yes, Dayang.
It's Dayang again. Actually, sir, I also have another doubt. Should we worry about some sounding too polished or like too prepared? Because sometimes I'm quite nervous that the interviewers can see that, oh, they practice a lot of times. But at the same time, I don't want to look like I'm too nervous about it.
Yeah, but you come to the interview, you sound like robot. Yes, no, right? It sounds like you memorize the question, and then if you twist the question, then you're kaput already, right? So that's not good, right? But it's okay. I mean, you come in, and then normally the interviewer knows that you are memorizing everything verbatim, right? And then they just twist you a bit and see whether you can respond. But you have to be able to respond that, right? Because unless you can really know, you memorize it, you understand everything, but you conceal your memorizing the way you present it, that as if, you know, it's very smooth, you know anything about it, you already know. It's not like you memorize. That's why I'm not a big fan of memorizing, even though when I present something, I've never memorized the text, I just shoot. Because if I memorize it, and then what if I lost my thought, then I'm gone. Yeah, but I do memorize, I do have in the back of my mind the flow, what's coming next. So that is to keep me going. If you memorize it, then if you're nervous, normally, that's what happens. You memorize and you come in and you're so nervous because you worry over nothing, then whatever you memorize is gone. It affects your memory. But if you don't memorize, you understand what you're about to say, you prepare point by point, then you can always recover regardless of the situation. Then it looks natural though, rather than robot.
Thank you, sir.
We don't want to work with robot. We want to work with human.
Hi, sir.
Hi, Morgan.
I'm Morgan, and I'd like to ask a question. So previously, you stated that if in an interview it's better to ask about the salary range. And if you think it's not like your thing, then you can end the interview early. I've been wondering, how is it do you end an interview early? Doesn't it seem like rude? Like
No,
how
no,
do you,
not in the middle of the interview, before the interview.
yeah, then after
No,
you if you
before
don't want to,
before you come to the interview, you receive the invitation, and then you can ask what is the salary range. Not during the interview.
okay, thank you, sir.
Yeah. During the interview, if you don't like, you have to continue on, right? Towards the end of the interview, then you get the offer letter, and then you decide whether you want to take or not. But you just play along. But normally we know, because looking at the facial expression, as soon as we mention our salary is like that, the excitement gone already. Yeah, if it's something that you don't like, the excitement gone already, and we already know we don't want to continue with the interview anyway. We just stop right there. Not we stop immediately, but we ask a couple more questions and we stop because we know you're not interested anymore. There's no point. Normally it's like that. I mean, I've never really seen that some candidate with a poker face that even you tell them you're going to pay them 1,000 ringgit, they stay happy. No.
Okay, sir, thank you.
Yep. Any more?
Hi, sir.
Hi, Izel.
Hi, I'm Izel. I have one question. In the
Sure.
interview, if we get the question that we don't know how to answer, is it safe to say that I don't know or I need to respond based on what I understand about the question in the interview?
Yeah, if the question is about the facts, if the question is about the fact that you know that's for the fact that is a fact, but you don't know, then you tell them you really don't know, honestly. Rather than you are goreng and it turn out to be, you cloud, then it doesn't make any sense, right? Then it shows that you are, what kind of person are you? Because we want to see your honesty as well. If you don't know, then you say you don't know. You'll find out later if that is really critical to the position that you say, if this is, if I am hired, then I'll find out more later. But if that question is the deciding factor whether you're hired or not, then you try your best to answer to the best of your knowledge, but at least you try to answer it. But if you really don't know, don't make it up. Don't. Then it's not good for you either. But then if you still cannot, then you take a few seconds, think that you still cannot, then you can say, I don't know the answer. I'll find out. It's better to be honest than try to fake yourself through.
Thank you, sir.
Any more?
Is there any more questions? Speak now or forever hold your peace.
You can always reach me on LinkedIn and you can always ask questions.
Yes, definitely.
If you don't want to answer the question in public, you want to be in private conversation, then you can connect with me on LinkedIn and you can ask questions.
So perhaps if everyone is good and doesn't have any more questions, Mr. Ishak, shall we wrap this up?
Yes.
All right, that's great. So I just want to express Tulips' appreciation to Ishak for coming on and giving this amazing, really jam-packed session to all the participants here today. Thank you all as well, because you all gave your time and effort in coming and staying throughout the whole session, asking questions, clarifying. It's really amazing to see your energy on a Saturday. So before you go, we have sent a message in the chat. We would love to hear from you regarding your feedback about this session. So there is a short survey that we would like everyone to give your input on. So if you could just click on the link, it will direct you to a Google form. So just complete that, and we hope you enjoy the session, and we really look forward to seeing you in all our other events as well. So thank you, Mr. Ishak.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you, everybody, for your attention. Then, as I said, I can be reached in LinkedIn at any time. Thank you.
Don't forget to follow Tulips Movement on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. We look forward to everyone's attendance in the next sessions. And with that, we end the session. And everyone, you may enjoy the rest of your weekend. For those who are fasting, happy Ramadan, happy selamat berpuasa. And we hope you learned a lot, definitely.
Okay. See you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, Tulips.
Thank you, Dayang, for being such a great sport.